Sorry. That one took me off guard.
I thought we were going to do it like together. Oh.
Posture check. Okay.
What is RSPID and West End to you?
It's family.
And what activities do you do in RSPID?
So some example of activities that we do in RSPID include sing along, where we play songs and we dance along to the music together with the trainees. And we also have what we call CDT, where we develop skills in our trainees, such as money concept or emotions recognition, and we teach them life skills that would train them to be more independent in life.
What is your favorite part of RSPID?
I think when I first started off, it was actually the trainees, because I'm actually a very socially awkward person. So when I came, it was awkward for me to mingle with the volunteers I don't know. So I would just go to the trainees and start a chit chat and get to know them better. But along the way, that's when I made a lot of friends with the volunteers, the seniors, the people from West End. So it became more and more like a family here.
I think my favourite part in RSPID is seeing the trainees smile. So every simple thing can make them smile, and it actually warms my heart a lot.
Okay, my favorite part is interacting with the trainees and the caregivers. Yeah.
I think my favorite part about RSPID is that every Saturday at the end of every week, I can have a place to look forward to, whether I'm studying or whether I'm working. There's always a family, there's always a place that I can go to just have fun and to relax with my trainees and fellow volunteers.
Hi, I'm Sadil. I've been with RSPID and West End for the last 10 years. So I started off with RSPID, then I moved over to West End, but we are still in the same location.
What is your favorite part about RSPID in West End?
Definitely it's the trainees, spending time with the trainees, making a difference in their lives, seeing them go home happy every day that we spend with them. It fills me up.
What motivated you to stay in RSPID?
For me, what motivated me to stay in RSPID, right, is actually really like the connection I bond with my volunteers and also like the trainees in our center. Because like every Saturday, we try to make time out of our busy schedule to kind of meet them, and like they really make our time really worthwhile, because like we see like the smiles that we put into their faces, right? It just really makes us feel very contented. Yeah.
I guess after a while, you form like a connection with the trainees and you learn the way they communicate and the way they interact with you. And after a while, it gets even more fulfilling, which is why I stay.
What motivates me? I would still say it's the journey. Like I would say it's good that I have like a group of volunteers with me to actually like accompany the trainee to grow together. Like it's not only them growing. I think like me myself as volunteer, I also growing, cause like it's not like everyone know how to, like from the start I don't really know how to handle them, and I actually learn through experience lah. So this is something that motivates me to continue. Yeah.
For me, I think it's the sense of belonging within a certain family. So in RSPID, we have a group of volunteers. All of us are one big family, and personally, I believe it is a good co-curricular activity, meaning outside of study, we have this opportunity to give back to the community. It feels great as a student, in terms of not just hard work, but hard work. So it's a fulfilling thing to do on your pastime, apart from studying. What do you love about your trainees?
What do I love about my trainees is that they're all very lovely, in a sense whereby when you meet them, and they're all very happy when they see you. So they'll just always come to see you and then they say, "Teacher," and then they'll high five with you and all. Yeah, so I think those parts are really my favorite thing about them also. They're all very lovely and nice. I guess favorite thing about trainees, because I'm someone who's very low self-esteem. So when I'm with my trainees, I can actually say whatever I want. I can say whatever way I say it. So example, maybe I stutter a lot or something. But trainees don't judge. So it's like, that's what I love most about them. So they're really innocent. And even the smallest thing can make them happy.
My favorite. Okay, so one of my trainees loved Dancing Queen, and she would randomly, at the start, before I knew her, she would randomly say Dancing Queen, and I was very confused until I visited her family, and then they shared more about her, and that's when I learned more about her.
What are some difficulties you encountered as a volunteer, and how do you circumvent these challenges?
On the trainee side, you'll definitely have difficult trainees to handle, especially those who are autistic. They have difficulties regulating themselves, regulating their emotions, and one of the most difficult things you get to do here is to teach them the regulation and also to manage them when they have difficult episodes or meltdowns, like we call them. And to understand the trainees individually and not taking a blanket approach for all of them. So when you get to create that personal rapport with each of them, you realize there's actually a lot of things to consider for each trainee before you're able to assist them. And there's definitely a certain degree of difficulty with that. But as you go along, it will come as second nature to you. You will realize, hey, there are some basic things I need to do before I approach a trainee. And after that, I need to actually let my mind adapt to the trainee instead of expecting the trainee to adapt to you. So this is an adjustment for most people, and it was an adjustment for me as well. Then the second part is the caregivers. So for the caregivers, many of them come from very difficult backgrounds. You get to see, like I mentioned, a different part of life when you are with them. And lending a listening ear sometimes does take an emotional toll on you as well. But keeping that in check and making sure that the time that you spend with the caregivers is fruitful and giving them some respite from their day-to-day caregiving duties is very enriching for us.
I think for me, some difficulties I face is actually sometimes trying to understand what my trainees want. So I think for me, I'm still learning in the process because I do not really interact with all my trainees. I try to take the time to go and get to know most trainees, but it's almost impossible to actually get to know all of them because there are too many of them, and that each trainee is just like a different individual. There is no one thing that is similar across everyone. So it actually takes a lot of time and effort to get to know them. So I guess one thing I try to overcome is actually spending the time to actually get to know the trainees one at a time. There's no need to rush because like we have all the time we want. Like even if we graduate, we can always still come back, and then like it's just a long-term process. Yeah, for me.
For some of our trainees, they experience different behaviors compared to us. For example, meltdowns, they throw tantrums, and they display different behaviors from us. And for my perspective as a new volunteer, I thought these were quite alien and quite foreign to me. But through the years, I started to realize that, look, we as students, and in fact, we as people, have the same sort of tantrums, have the same sort of problems, and have the same sort of feelings within us. It's just that for the intellectually disabled, they do not have that outlet that we have. So for me, the difficulty initially was to understand what certain trainees are going through, but through my years of interacting with them, through playing with them, and through going through certain meltdowns and tantrums, I began to understand what makes them happy and what doesn't make them happy, same as any normal human being.
What is the quality you think volunteers should possess?
I guess largely is the heart to serve and patience. The heart to serve being willing to come down and interact with trainees, and patience because it's not very easy for trainees to understand you the very first time, so it takes a lot of patience to interact with them.
For me, I think a quality that all volunteers should possess is actually the desire to actually volunteer and a passion to volunteer. It's not really like coming here to like gain CIP points or like coming here for like the testimonial or anything, because like pretty much CCAs in unis are actually kind of not very useful. It doesn't really add much value to our portfolio either, but it's more rather like doing something meaningful rather than like just the usual work routine or the study routine, but much rather it's like a place for you to feel like you're doing something meaningful in your life.
I think one quality that volunteers should possess is empathy, because firstly, spending time together with the trainees might not be an easy task. You will need some level of understanding to understand that the trainees, they are quite different from us and they might have different ways of thinking. However, I just want to say that these different ways of thinking is not negative. It's just a new way of thinking that might inspire creativity, and that's why it's a quality that would be good for us to have, for us to understand them better and to learn how they actually think about life.
What has joining RSPID taught you?
I think it's taught me to be more patient, because I think it requires a lot of patience. It's like not every day that you have the chance to work with people that are part of the intellectually disabled group. So it's a very good chance for you to learn to be more empathetic, more patient, and then it teaches you how to be more open-minded about a lot of different things also. And then actually you learn a lot of like different and weird things along the way. Yeah, I think it's quite fun because like there are things that you really wouldn't expect. So it's like, do I give an example? Okay. So like for example, I think there's one of our trainees, he's actually not very vocal, so he like rarely talks. Yeah, and then a lot of senior volunteers also say they've never really heard him say anything. But then I was quite shocked because his like concept of like money concept is very strong. So when we were doing one of the activities, I think yeah, it was quite interesting because for me, I didn't expect him to do so well. But even though he didn't talk, through like his actions, you can tell he has a very like profound understanding of how to pay for things and how much change you should receive, which yeah, sometimes like even like for many of us, we also like not very good at counting change, but he's very fast at it.
I think what it has really taught me is that it's never too late to find the best version of yourself, because over the years I've joined many CCAs, I guess, and I've always wanted to be more confident. So I joined drama club, I've joined a lot of different clubs, and then really nothing worked. But being here, it really helped me to be comfortable in my own skin, so I can do things that I'm afraid of, or people always say I'm not good at, like dancing, singing. So yeah, I can do all this weird stuff, and I have a lot of fun. So with all this confidence I get from here, I actually really needed it for my work right now. So I'm better at facilitating things and all that. So it gives me the confidence I need.
It taught me to be like more, I would say it's more kind. I think this is more kind because I feel like all the volunteers, they are all very kind. It's not like, it's like I actually joined other CCA before, but I don't feel it. Maybe it's because it's like those leadership CCA, so it don't feel like, oh, everyone is very kind, very friendly, that kind. But I think joining RSPID is really make me have like a different experience, and everyone is just so nice like around me. Yeah, so I really love it. Yes.
What do you want to say to potential volunteers get at RSPID?
Okay, so for potential volunteers, I think you can come here with an open mind, not to worry about, if you're first time volunteering, not to worry about anything, because honestly, the seniors here are really all very nice. So I remember when I was a freshie, I was quite afraid because I don't have any first-hand experience with people with intellectual disability. So honestly, I didn't know how to handle the different situations, but the seniors were all very nice here to guide us. And soon you will adapt well and have your own trainees as well, your own primary trainees, and yeah.
Firstly, don't be intimidated. I think most people get very afraid because this is the community that they never interacted before. Secondly, it's very fulfilling when you get to interact with them. And thirdly, I think at the end of the day, you'll be proud to say that you have an intellectually disabled friend.
So for me, I think one advice I would like to give to potential volunteers is that if you have the heart and the passion to want to do something meaningful, I think that RSPID is a wonderful place for you to join. And like if your purpose is to like make new friends, to socialize, this is the perfect place to be because every Saturday we're just interacting with all our volunteers, our trainees. There's like abundance of friends and like it's the best place to socialize.
To new freshies who are joining, don't be afraid to try. I know it's a new experience for a lot of people, but just do it.